Welcome to But Frankly Pierce News. I'm Arthur Fairview. Last week, the House Oversight Committee heard testimony regarding the Arizona fraud audit on October 7th. In attendance were Jack Sellers, chairman of the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors, and Bill Gates. No, not that Bill Gates.
I was going to say.
Bill Gates, Maricopa County Board of Supervisors Vice Chair. Both of these elected officials are Republicans. Both of these officials decry the sham of an audit that Maricopa County was subjected to by the Republican-controlled Arizona Senate and their hired thugs, Cyber Ninja's Doug Logan. Oh, and by the way, Doug was invited to join in the hearing, but had other things to do that day.
What?
Seriously?
Yes, Doug was too busy attending a right-wing podcast hosted by Joe Altman, the conspiracy theorist who started the allegations that Dominion voting machines were rigged to ensure Trump lost.
Yeah, we wish.
A bold lie, and certainly unnecessary.
But let's get back to the hearing. Let's listen for a moment to Mr. Sellers.
What is the price of one piano compared to the terrible crime that has been committed here?
But that's a priceless Steinway.
Not anymore.
Wrong, Sellers. Try again.
If you were in Arizona politics in November of 2020 and didn't understand how Maricopa County was running elections, then you just weren't paying attention. We ran a presidential preference election in February. All participants agreed it was well run and accurate. We ran the primary election in August of 2020. Again, the public, the candidates, and the political parties all agreed the county's election execution was excellent. We ran the 2020 general election in November, and suddenly, what to that point had been a great process was deemed fatally flawed by a small yet loud minority. I dare say, if you're a student of Maricopa County Republican election history, you are not surprised by the results. It was not a flawed election process, not a lack of security. It was a candidate that many Maricopa County Republicans simply did not support.
Jack sounds pissed.
You blame him?
After the report from the Cyber Ninjas and the finger pointing, there clearly is a level of frustration from the Maricopa County Board of Supervisors. I think Mr. Gates expresses this quite well. Take a look.
The Senate then hired the Cyber Ninjas to head up a group of firms with no or little election experience to conduct an extra-legal review, essentially an extra-legal recount of Maricopa County's ballots. And really, that can only be described as an amateurish review of Maricopa County's election technical infrastructure. The Cyber Ninjas, they changed the policies and procedures, they chased conspiracy theories, they threw out false claims, and worst of all, they accused our good elections workers of committing crimes. They said that they deleted files, but these were files that the Cyber Ninjas just couldn't find. Now, this was either an out-and-out lie or a level of incompetence by the Cyber Ninjas that was staggering.
Wait, who is the guy we keep seeing? The one shaking his head?
Yeah, him. Mr. Biggs?
That is Representative Andy Biggs from Arizona's 5th Congressional District and chairman of the Freedom Caucus, the farthest right bloc in the House Republican Conference.
So he disagrees with Mr. Sellers and Mr. Gates.
You know, the Democrats really can't have it both ways, can they? I mean, really, can they have it both ways? You cannot say that the audit showed the integrity of the election, while at the same time claiming that the mere fact of an audit in and of itself is a threat existentially to our democracy. You can't do that. It's a fallacious, logical inconsistency. If, as you claim, by the way, a claim I dispute, that the election was fair and properly conducted, a complete forensic audit ought to demonstrate that.
Looks like he's fishing for sound bites.
He does tend to speak very quickly.
Until he starts hitting his points. Clearly, he is not happy with Democrats.
But I thought both of the people from Maricopa County Board of Supervisors were Republicans.
Oh, nice shooting, Tex.
So it would seem, but wait, there's more. Also attending via video conference was a sitting member of Congress we have discussed before, the extreme representative from Arizona, Paul Gosar. But there seems to be something wrong with him.
No, really?
Are we talking physically or mentally?
Physically, there seems to be some issue he is hiding. The 56-year-old former dentist said arthritis and 2 compressed vertebrae in his neck and lower back have caused nerve issues in his hand. The condition will require back surgery, which he hasn't scheduled. In addition, he is dealing with complications from a hip replacement last summer. He has been trying to hide spasms and a seizing problem with his hand.
Well, that's not good.
But perhaps there is something more. Let's take a look at his appearance at the House Oversight and Reform Committee hearing.
From the standpoint of that we see this, there's problems. How about me? Where did it come from me? The day after the election, I was contacted by 2 individuals. One had security and fraud jobs with the banking world. The other one goes from fraud from the Department of Defense. They were monitoring the election through Edison, the amalgamator. It was providing information to the media. What they saw in Arizona, they were watching the Secretary of State at the same time. What they saw from Arizona drew their attention quickly first. They saw numbers of 90-some thousand, 60-some thousand, 40-some thousand ballots drop into Donald Trump's category and then quickly come out verbatim. Now, there may be a reason for that. We don't know. But then they started watching there and looking to the dumps.
I'm no expert, but there is definitely something wrong here.
And not just in his uber conservative viewpoints.
I would have to concur.
Moving on. Remember what happened during the Black Lives Matter protests in Portland, Oregon last year? Well, it turns out something was clearly rotten in Denmark.
I thought you were talking about Portland.
Or was he?
An internal review made public on October 1st showed that the Department of Homeland Security under the Trump administration compiled intelligence and background reports dubbed baseball cards on people arrested by federal authorities in Portland during these protests, despite their charges being unrelated to national security threats.
Wow.
Now that's scary.
Oregon U.S. Senator Ron Wyden said the report confirmed stunning incompetence, mismanagement, and abuse of power by DHS under failed former President Donald Trump's administration. The review followed reports last year that the DHS's Office of Intelligence and Analysis had collected and shared information with federal law enforcement agencies on 2 journalists, a reporter for the New York Times and an editor-in-chief of the blog Lawfare, who were covering the protests in Portland.
Notice that they were not from Fox News.
Of course not.
The reports know that the journalists had published leaked, unclassified documents about the department's operations in Portland. According to the report, poor training and inadequate guidance contributed to the federal intelligence officers' lack of knowledge on legal restrictions for the collection of such information and confusion about what constituted a true threat.
Are you threatening me?
I don't respond well to threats.
A former manager told investigators that the intelligence collectors were like a bunch of 6th graders chasing a soccer ball. Everyone wanted to be the collector who found the golden egg or found the threat, the report said. The intelligence officers were convinced the Portland protesters' actions were coordinated, and the information was sought to confirm suspicions that those arrested were linked. The officers sought to identify a single person or group masterminding the attacks, yet according to the report, there was no intelligence to support such an assertion.
No sign of intelligent life anywhere.
Christopher David, the former Navy officer who famously chose to confront the federal officers asking why they betrayed their oath to the Constitution, was beaten and pepper sprayed for his trouble. He later offered an opinion that the report seems to confirm.
Before they showed up, the protests were already starting to wane a little bit. They've been escalated by the federal government, by the Department of Homeland Security. And I can only speculate as to the reasons why they are doing this. I believe in some respects it's optics. If they can't find a liberal city with chaos and protests, they're going to make one. And in this case, Portland is the test case.
And finally, we turn to Texas.
Again?
What now?
We have new information on Senate Bill 8, the Texas abortion ban signed into law back in May by Governor Abbott. The abortion ban law came to a grinding halt on October 6th, when U.S. District Court Judge Robert Pittman issued a blistering 113-page ruling.
Well, that's good news.
Wait for it.
And just like that, 48 hours later, the law was back in force. The Fifth Circuit Court, one of the most conservative packed courts in the nation, was urged by Texas legislators to remove the ban by issuing an administrative stay. So they did.
No!
Yes, yes. The Fifth District Court issued an administrative stay on the previous ruling that effectively blocks the federal court injunction and allows the ban to once again go into effect. This puts the ball back in the court of the Department of Justice. The DOJ responded on October 11, asking once again to suspend the law until it is heard in court. The statement from the DOJ says, if Texas's scheme is permissible, no constitutional right is safe from state-sanctioned sabotage of this kind.
Greater risk here, the additional and further risk here, is that other states will follow similar models with respect not only to this constitutional right, but theoretically against any constitutional right in any other state. So if another state uses the same kind of provisions to deprive its citizens of their constitutional rights, and in particular to deprive their citizens of the ability to seek immediate review, we will bring the same kind of lawsuit.
In wording that seemed to be a message to the U.S. Supreme Court, the Justice Department raised the specter that if allowed to stand, the legal structure created in enacting the law could be used to circumvent even Supreme Court's rulings in 2008 and 2010 on gun rights and campaign financing.
I think that's what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
What the hell is a gander anyway?
It is not clear when the Fifth Circuit Court will decide whether to extend what is currently a temporary order, allowing the Texas law to stand.
So for now, enforcement of the SB 8 abortion law is essentially
Exactly. Only we never know which court the ball is in.
This has been But Frankly Pierce News. Thanks for watching. I'm Arthur Fairview. Back where we started, here we go round again. Day after day I get up and I say, I better do it again.
Thank you.